Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. The next Wasteless World Talks are here, the last before Christmas. Bill and Kevin and me, we are here to write on the back of language towards the future. And the term today is really special and ordinary at the same time. Bill, if you close your eyes and I say day, what came first to your mind?
Measure of time, how many days until Christmas, but it's also when it's light, so it's daytime.
Okay. I will switch to Kevin. Kevin, the same procedure with you. If I say day, what is in on your mind first?
Strange enough, it's a different kind of day. I immediately thought of this American composer Samuel Barber and his Agnus Day, which means Lamb of God. So I was thinking of a completely different day. I know which day you meant, but I went the other way.
So you went back to Latin. I think it's Latin or Italian Latin. I think
Latin, yeah,
Latin.
yeah. I think it's part of Catholic liturgy.
Mm.
I'm not Catholic, so for me, it's on the edge of what I know anything about. But that, for some reason, just sprang instantly to mind.
You know, I asked my mom today, and I should forward a greeting from her to you and to Bill, and she said night immediately. Interesting.
Is that because
Yeah.
of the opposite?
Probably, not sure. I will ask her after the Christmas. Being there, I will ask her.
There's a lot of other words that include the word day, the daylight, daytime. Um,
I think it's quite interesting because when we have the noon discussion, I asked the participants whether there is some day which they will never remember, never forgot, to let them think really deep. So what it was with you, Bill?
well, it could be in a good way or in a bad way.
Let's say the good one.
We'll always go for the good. Um, the, I do apologize. Um, there was one day that will always be in my memory as the best day of my life, and it was the day that I married Galena.
Uh,
It was,
may I
yes,
interrupt you?
yes.
Why it was not the day when you met Galina? Because you mentioned the marriage several times already. And I will expect that maybe it's the day when you met her for the first time.
Well, a good question. That day we celebrate. That was December 13th, and we remind each other of the way that that came about. Um, but there was a lot of unknown, and so it was a day of of questions, of my brain saying, what do you, do, do you, what do you want to? Do you not want to? What is this? Is it real? Is it what? And so there was a lot of that. But we do celebrate that day. But the wedding day was just couldn't have been better. Um, Several funny things happened. I'll tell you just one quickly, and that is she went to get her hair done because she was wearing the veil. So she had to go to the hairdresser to, and it was 25 miles away. And I was getting dressed with my tux, and my phone rang, and it was her. And she says, I'm stuck on 95. That's a big highway. I'm stuck on 95. I'm going to be late. And I said, this is the one day of your entire life where nobody will start without you.
It's a great memory, really great memory. What about you, Kevin? Which day it is with you?
Actually, the most important days are not noticeable. So there are, of course, I got 3 kids, so the day those 3 were born. But the really key days, they're much more subtle because it's normally the start of a journey. So the day you realize that almost everything you've been told probably isn't true. I mean, it's such a long process, it's such a long journey, but there is that day that you begin that journey. And these are the important days, but they are just so subtle. And they'll lead to another day and another day and another day. So the most important days I've never noticed.
It's quite interesting. Just now it came to my mind. Do you remember the day when you started writing and recognize, yes, that's the thing I would like to do for the rest of my life?
No, I recognize the day where I decided that I was going to do it. If it turned out good or bad, it didn't matter, but I was actually going to give it a try.
And when I was in grade school, maybe 5th or 6th grade, the teacher put together a special class to train how to write, and she selected me for that as well. But I never thought that I was a good writer. I just thought that writing was a way to accomplish my business goals. And it wasn't until after the divorce when my head was going to explode. There's just so many details, emotions, everything else. And something in me said, put that down on paper, get it out of your head. And that's what I did. That was my first book. Um, and then after that, it was just, I realized how, how therapeutic it is to write. Get it out of your head.
It is so. I have exactly that with the first poem. I am really happy because all these keys memories are generated. I have it kept in written because I lost the memory, but I kept generally a few years after I lost the memory, I kept everything in written somehow, and until this moment, I never realized this connection between these two. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah.
One thing when you are writing, the days fly by. It's it takes a lot of energy and a lot of time, but it's not painful at all. It is a pleasure to write, I think, as long as you don't try to rush it.
Have you noticed that the Japanese government would like to apply the 4 days a week for the government employees in Tokyo since April? It was already approved. They will have 4 days a week.
Good, good. Now the big question is, what do you do with your extra time? What do you do?
They indicated that there is not enough, that the birth rate is rather low. So they just smooth it that there is one job which has to be done. And the second connected, of course, you should care about the other. So about a family and so on. What is interesting about this test, because this test has been in many countries, but they never apply it to people in the office, in the governmental offices. So like the officers, they never did. They all the time was some group of people and so on, but they never did it with the officials. And that's quite interesting. Quite interesting. What interesting move, I think.
Interesting. Is that because the government thinks that they're too important to take a day off?
In every country, in my country, usually there is the people in the offices, in the government offices, or how to call it, in the administration, government administration, they are working generally open hours are 3 or 4 days a week. The one day which is not open is explained as the day where the people process all the things which they get. But I don't know what they do. I was never working with them, so how big is the efficiency? Really don't know. And just before this meeting, there was another meeting in Australia talking about Industry 5.0, you know, and there was a professor. I don't understand. Do you think that these people, these experts, who has no idea what they are talking about, but they are talking about, do you think they have shame or they feel wrong? Because when they saw me, his voice started to tremble. This all the time the same, all the time the same with everyone. So they know they are doing something wrong, but still they are doing it. I don't understand why. Where this day came when the teacher know he or she is lying and still standing in front of the teacher delivering lies without shame.
Everybody lies, I think. Take the people who work for ExxonMobil or the other petroleum companies, and they pay marketing people to make up a green story. They invest in a wind farm someplace so they can point to it and say, we're interested in, I don't know, the environment. They make up a story. And don't they know? And don't they have children and grandchildren who are going to have to live in this world that they are making dirty? I don't know. So when you ask the question of shame, you know, this came up a day or two ago. I work with a community health center. We employ several hundred doctors and nurses and so on. And we feel good about that because the poor people who can't get to a doctor, don't have insurance, whatever, get served. So we feel good about that. But the discussion we had was about the assassination of the CEO of the insurance company.
Yeah, I know.
And everybody's talking about it because should people really make that much money? Especially people who claim to be helping other people. So when you ask, is there no shame? You know, part of me thinks that that question should be applied to almost all of us.
I do agree. Yes, Kevin?
I have to say, I think that if you work for a lobbying company and you work with pharmaceuticals or oil, I think one of the prime requirements is that you don't have shame. These people, they're driven by other factors, and I think primarily they're driven by wealth and not with any particular consideration of the well-being of the planet or the people living on it. These are very special people.
I suspect that they have rationalized. They rationalize away what you and I might think of are the bad parts of the job. They rationalize, and so instead of shame, they just have a real good ability to rationalize. But you know what? I rationalize too. I stay up too late. I have an extra glass of wine. You know, whatever it is, I rationalize. I think we all do. So that would be the word shame would be an interesting word to dig into on another day.
I think we will touch it.
Yeah. I think that most big organizations, they have both sides working for them. So they'll have angels in one department and devils in another. And usually you can see which departments have the devils.
It's the marketing department.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, marketing, the lobbying, and the finance departments.
I mentioned many times the beauty of Czech language, and there was sitting Katie here a few days ago. This is one of my friends and great logistician, and she's really unbelievable lady. And she said, have you thought about the term budoucnost? And the term budoucnost is future. It is future, budoucnost. But I usually do that. I cut the word in two halves, which is not done in Czech Republic, but I cut it. And she said, it's a very interesting term because Budo or Budo is the future, is the part will be. But cnost is virtue. So future virtue, it's so interesting. So interesting. I will for sure dedicate one of my articles to that in Czech because it is so interesting that the term was created by connecting to the virtue with the future, and the virtue is something what is generally missing. This exactly the shame part is the reason I am the people shame, so they have no virtue in a way as I do understand it.
But I think also to be shameless, you must corrode yourself. Deep down, you must know that you're doing wrong. And it's a hard thing to bear over a lifetime.
Just before we started, somebody placed a picture on LinkedIn. There was a big amount of banana and an ape eating one of them banana. And the comment was, if you will put in front of an ape bananas and money, the ape take bananas. It's stupid. I have to write a comment because generally ape is much more cleverer than the people who take money. Of course, you can buy more bananas for money, or you can die if nobody will sell the bananas to you or anything else. So this shows up that the ape does not have a greed. And this is what I put in the comment generally, that the rich have greed. This is why they took money. But the ape has brain. This is why it took bananas. And it was connected to Jack Ma, I think, the owner of Alibaba or the previous owner of Alibaba. So the richest Chinese generally at that time.
So if an ape is walking through the woods and walks into a clearing and there's a mountain of bananas, more bananas than he could ever count or eat in his life, how many will he take?
I think he will eat first, he will take few, and he will leave. But what I think, if there will be a ape family, or I don't know how it's called, a group of apes, I think he will indicate there are bananas to the others. I have seen similar behavior, and you too probably, Kevin.
I think that we're the only species who would fence off the bananas and then use the supply of bananas to control other people of the same species. We certainly wouldn't share them for the good of all.
All the time, these changes happen in a day, like a day when somebody was able to convince the others that a shiny coin, shiny object is more valuable than bread. I would like to be there at that day, to see who did it really, who was able to push the people that this whatever coin is more valuable than something to eat.
But even more worrying is the guy who said this coin is worth a day of your life. Because then a day is just a coin. A life is just a collection of coins that someone else has decided the value of.
That's right.
A day is just a coin. I'm going to write that down. It's good.
You know, it's so interesting, all these talks, because we came to really so different perspective. And a day, it's a term which we use many times a day, because we just simply, what I don't believe with the the discussion before, when we spoke about a or and, I think we spoke about and space, we spoke about space. And then I sent you the answer from which I found somewhere, that there are twice so much spaces as the most frequent letter in the alphabet. I make a test. I wrote a one pager in Czech. No, in Czech it is not true. It's more spaces than, not than the most frequent word letter. In Czech it is letter E, not A, but letter E. But it was more, and I think it will be even in English. It will not be the double. I don't think so. It depends on the text which you are writing, of course. So the number of spaces there. But coming back to the day, I like really the connection between day and night. This separation we use in here, and I think in English is used the same. When we say day, it can be 24 hours, or it can be day and night, so 12 hours, let's say 12 hours. In English, is it the same? In Danish as well?
Yes.
Going,
Yes,
yeah.
it's used both ways.
And German, same. And Russian probably as well. I don't know. I even don't remember
Yeah.
how to say the term day. Just don't get it out. Agin. How to say Russian day?
Day.
I don't know, and Galina's not here.
For 12 years. For 12 years, I have to study Russian. Okay, so it's one day to. It is interesting. Do you have a day, taking it from this moment, which you are looking forward to come? The day which you expect, like being a child, you know your birthday, you will get a lot of presents, so you cannot wait for that day. Is it something like that which is expecting you in the next days?
Well, we're facing the equinox in 3 days, 4 days time, and then Christmas in, well, 6 days and 7 days for Bill, or is it 7? Yeah.
You know what popped to my mind when you asked that question, but I don't know that we should go there, but the day that I'm looking forward to is the day that I die. Because I'm not sure just what's going to happen. I know that there will be a lot of there will be rest for me. All of the worries that I carry will be gone, and the answers. Every question will have an answer. Other than that, each day is filled with good things for me. I'm in a very good part of my life, but I, I'm not really looking forward to any of them. I mean, like Christmas, okay. There's really nothing that I need to see my grandchildren happy, perhaps. Um, but what day am I looking forward to? I'd never thought about that before till you asked that question.
And you, Kevin? Is there any?
Well, I'm still hoping that as we get older, the world gets a better place. But that day maybe may not arrive.
You know, there is.
I still like to think.
Yes.
You know, every day is packed full of potential, both good and bad. But of course, you consider it good. There's so much opportunity in a day, in 24 hours, that there should be a lot to do, a lot to look forward to. But of course, as you get older, you can't attack it with the same vigor that you can when you're younger. But I still think that I'm not going to climb Mount Everest. But as long as the brain keeps working, then there's still things that can be achieved every day.
I don't know whether I mentioned that when we meet in Czech someone, the first question, and it is someone whom you know, so it is important. The first question is, what's new? That's the question. The standard answer here in Czech Republic, nothing. It's a standard answer. It's like, how are you? I'm fine. So in Czech, we have it this way. And I don't know whether I mentioned it, but 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I realized it's completely wrong. But I mean completely with capital letters. Because the right answer is everything. Because every moment something is new. New cell in my brain will die or will be born or whatever. Every single moment. And I start to change the answer. And Bill, I do remember as you change your question to the others. It's fascinating to watch the reaction of the people. What's new? Everything. And they don't know what to say. Because, and I said it to the group of people, I have a lecture, and we realize that nothing is generally the answer which ends up conversation. How are you? What's new? Nothing. And you go away. But if you say everything, it starts conversation, and the people are scared of conversation today. It's fascinating, fascinating, really. I recommend it to everyone who I meet right now, and their feedback is it's unbelievable how the behavior of the people change.
I'm going to use that, and I know what you mean about the person, the face changes. They were not expecting that. Now they've got to come up with a response to that. Geez, don't make me think.
It's exactly that. Sorry, I have to take a little drink. Okay, so do you think you can scale up the day? Or we all the time ask, what is the opposite of day? Which probably is night. But I don't think it's in all the meanings of day. It's just one of the meanings. Oh. It's half 12 hours part of a day, let's say. But are there other opposites?
Yeah. If you use day to mean time, so how many days until Christmas? That's a place marker. So what is the opposite of a place marker? Nothing? If you don't have that place marker, then it's Christmas right now.
And you remember well, we spoke about time and we came to the conclusion time is construct. So time maker is a construct, calendar is a construct, everything.
Actually, interesting is that last year's calendar is still full of days.
Yeah.
So maybe the opposite of day is yesterday.
And tomorrow is what?
Yeah. Tomorrow is also the opposite of today.
Is it opposite or is it a reflection or I don't know how to say it.
An extension?
Extension maybe?
Or promise?
Promise, that's nice. That's nice. You know, it will be interesting if you will ask your grandchildren, what is day? What will be their answer? You know, I think it will be sunshine, it will be school, it will be breakfast.
It'll be immediate, whatever is immediately in front of them. Yeah, I will ask. They say the most insightful things how can a 6-year-old say that to me? When I pick them up from school, I take a snack with me, maybe 3 or 4 things, maybe a fortune cookie, maybe whatever, and I give them to them, and the little piece of chocolate, don't eat that until you've eaten everything else. And so as I'm driving back, I say, have you eaten everything? Yes. What did you eat? What did you eat first? Why did you choose that? And the 6-year-old said, oh, it was just random. And my eyes got big, like, where did you hear that word? And how was it possible that a 6-year-old could use that in perfect context? It's amazing.
I just wonder whether there will be the day when somebody will really be able to do it with us the full time. So, we have the fourth guy or girl with us for one time, not so frequent, only once. It was for a longer time. But it will be great to really have this discussion somewhere, and we discuss it on the stage and speak with the people and really get them answer, get them this feeling. I saw it on the lectures which I have on innovations. It was great to look at the faces of the people. I make a challenge, so I gave them three types of homework. Generally, they can choose one, and then I choose a present for them. Who the best can win this? You will say it's stapler. It's for stepping the papers. But this is staplerless, stapleless. There is nothing. If I connect the paper, if I connect these two papers, it makes a hole inside, and the hole is very cleverly set to fix the paper here. So you fix it. And there has been like small children, the competition was so tough. And it was great. And it's all the time with the talks about nothing. It's every single time is such a big surprise of really being human, finding it inside and getting it out for 40 minutes and just talk as we do for such a long time.
Thinking about days, we also use days as an incentive and as a punishment. So, if you do this, we'll give you 3 days holiday, or you're going to prison for 580 days. It's quite interesting how corporations and governments, our time is theirs to own. Our time is theirs to manipulate, to promise, to package. It's not our time. It's somebody else's time to give and take. We just have to endure it.
I just read recently, a few weeks ago, about new test, how to use the artificial intelligence in the prisons. Generally, the prisoner will get the virtual headset, and it will be like speeding up the time, but with very negative things which can happen and so on. And I do remember this to read in a science fiction about 30 years ago, maybe 40. Not sure. And today in the morning, during the Industry 5.0 development control, I found the article of, I don't know where it came from, Sweden, not sure. And the article is named The Year 2025, the Year of Robots. UK, it was UK. And I just wonder, and I put a post on LinkedIn where I mentioned both of the authors, whether they read the RUR by Carl Chapek. They didn't reply. I don't.
I guess one thing with robots is you can't threaten them with time. time has no meaning to them compared to us.
And even you cannot take food from them, or the relation, you cannot go home to your family. They have no family. So there is a lot of things which this unhuman being, we will not be able to force it. I don't want to call it him or her. It will be, the giants will really limit the ability to somehow control in a way how humans are being controlled.
They'll need new constructs. That's very interesting statement, because that's what the giants do, is they control us either by giving us a paycheck, or by something having to do with time, a day off. But they won't be able to use those with robots. So they'll have to come up with whole new constructs. And if you take something away from a robot, say you reduce the amount of battery storage that they have at their disposal, like limiting the amount of food that they would give us. But does a robot care? Unless you program the robot to always maintain a certain level, and then you take away the memory. But do they care? Does a robot care? Can you program a robot to care, either for their own self-preservation or for good to others? Or I suspect if we have this conversation 10 years from now, the giants will have found ways to make robots care. Different from the way they make us care, but similar in some ways, I think.
Yeah, because why is AI compelled to give us an answer? Why doesn't it just say, figure it out yourself?
You just spoke about ChatGPT, about AI. Yesterday, ChatGPT, for the first time in 10 years, it recognized myself as equally the leading whatever of Industry 5.0. It was for the first time. Yeah. And it was discovered by my daughter generally, who we have a discussion, and she asked who is the founder, and she found us out. It was very interesting, because before I was out of the reach of the information about me was out of the reach, but just now it is there. And we have 1 minute left. So yeah, it is so. Sorry for that, but it's a construct and we cannot do anything about it. Just smile. And I would like to thank you for that. I would like to wish you have a nice Christmas. And of course, New Year, if we do not see each other before. And enjoy it. Enjoy the day and every single day. And have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, be free, be human, and enjoy, as I said, every single day.
Have a good day.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.